Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show. Townhall Tuesdays, Rally Towel Sports. We've had a lot happen since the last time that we were live. We're here to break it all down for you tonight. Todd, how was your weekend?
It's great. Got to do some grilling on Sunday. That was a beautiful thing. It's crazy because
This
Saturday
man looks
it
pretty
was.
sexy behind the grill. Just FYI.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Saturday it was fucking snowing.
Right?
Like, what the hell's going on here? And Sunday I was grilling in a long sleeve t-shirt and shorts. It's a magical thing.
Sipping
Ohio
some
weather's
bourbon
a
and
magical
watching
thing.
some golf.
That's right. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. How was your weekend, man?
It's good. It's good. A lot of bourbon, a lot of golf. It was fantastic tournament that we got to watch. Scotty Scheffler was just unconscious for most of it. I'll tell you who had the best round of the tournament was Rory on Sunday. That man played absolutely phenomenal from tee off to that chip in that he had on 18 out of the sand. I will say that's one of the coolest holes of golf I've ever watched was Rory and Morikawa on the 18th. Sunday at Augusta. They both knocked it in from the sand. They got up and down and won. Back-to-back shots. It was one of the most lit finishes. I don't know if it was just because I was a little hammered, but it was absolutely awesome to watch. When you see, two guys at the top of their game just do that, because it's not easy.
I think right, and I think McElroy was catching a little heat too because people were kind of saying that, McElroy has been playing well lately, and he's not living up to the height that he's had really for the last 4 or 5 years. And then he had a really nice Masters. I mean, he had one bad day, and that crushed him. It was Friday, right, when he had his bad round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
he started off hot. I think first day he was 1 or 2 under, and then he finished over par, but he made the cut on Friday, and then Saturday he got back to even, and then obviously Sunday he shot 8 under par, bogey-free round. It's just absolute perfect day. The weather was great. All the stars aligned for him on Sunday, I guess. But man, the dude was hitting the ball 330 yards on the fly, off the tee, putting himself in great spots all day, and he was executing. So It was a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
But
that's
a fact.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler, our Masters winner. I believe a gentleman that Corey works with ended up winning the charity tournament. Is that right?
Yes, and he elected to donate 100% of his earnings to the charity. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
So what are we at $1,000 in 1 month of funds? Almost.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're pretty much at $1,000 for the month of April I guess you can call it a 30-day period for March Madness leading up to the Masters. We donated over $1,000 to charity, which is pretty awesome.
Incredible.
Matt from the foundation that we did the Masters donation for is planning on being on the podcast with us next Tuesday. So just to give us a quick rundown of what the outing's all about, who they're supporting, how it got started, et cetera, et cetera. He's a super nice guy. I talked to him on the phone quite a bit yesterday.
That's amazing.
Took 20 minutes out of his day to talk to me on the phone while he's on a family vacation, just to show his appreciation to us. Yeah. So, really, really, really excited that we got the opportunity to do that. We're not really 100% certain what the next charitable event is going to be. If I have any say in it, I would love to do something related to the draft. I don't know what that would look like just yet, so stay tuned. But the NFL draft is in 2 weeks,
right?
It's on the 28th. So
yeah,
I'd love to do a little something for the draft, or hopefully we could just do a live watch party, and your boy will get on here for a Thursday night fiasco. Talk some football. I miss talking football with you guys. That's something I really enjoyed doing. Just given taking Thursdays off now, spend some more time with the fam. I already got permission from Mary to do an extra day, so let's rock and roll.
Hell yeah, man. No, we'll have to figure something out for the draft, but it's coming up in a couple weeks. super excited for it. As we've talked about, it's been one of the most hyped off seasons in NFL history. There's been a lot of movement, tons of things happening. Do want to take a quick moment. Dwayne Haskins, obviously you guys already know. If you don't, I don't know what rock you're living under. He passed away over the weekend. He was hit by a vehicle in South Florida just after a team workout. Super sad. Obviously, he had an illustrious career here at Ohio State, one of the best performances, collegiate careers in Big Ten history at the quarterback position. And it's definitely something that's hit the city of Columbus hard up here. I know everybody at work, talked about it, on Monday when we got to the office and everything. And super, super sad for him and his wife and his family. And, our thoughts here at Rally Tower out with the family of Dwayne Haskins. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tragedy when you see someone. For me, and I said this in our group message, and it puts a lot of perspective of he's 24 years old, right? We're 31. So like you think about how important every moment of every day is and how you need to take advantage of whatever opportunity that you may have. And, carpe diem is kind of a cliche thing to say in a situation like this, but just cherish every single moment that you have on earth. You hear shit like this happen, and, it's hard for me because it creates real mortality, and that's a hard thing to wrap your head around. And it is an absolute tragedy. Just for all y'all watching, or listening, whatever you're doing, just take the day, take a moment if you don't have the day, and just reflect on what is most important to you, and tell your fucking mom you love them. Do something, right? I mean, it's you got to do something. It's terrible. It's an absolute tragedy to hear such a young, promising athlete lose the opportunity to live up to his fullest potential.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in the gaming world, one of the biggest icons is Tim the Tap Man, and in the sign off for every single one of his videos, he always looks straight at the camera and go, "Make sure you tell somebody you love them." And that hits a little bit differently for me this week, obviously with that happening, and he says it every time, so you kind of there's sometimes where you take it for a grain of salt, and you have things like this happen where it makes you realize that you really just have to do that.
Absolutely.
But so thoughts and prayers with his family. Hopefully they're doing all right. On to the baseball world. Kind of to switch lanes a little bit. Bill Castellini said some shit that should get him punched in the face today. Trying to lighten the mood here a little bit. Let me pull it up because you sent it in the group chat. I want to read this verbatim so I don't fuck it up. Phil Castellini was quoted this morning on 700 WLW. Here's his statement. Where are you going to go? Sell the team to who? What would you do with this team to compete more in the current economic system? The answer, it would be to pick it up and move it somewhere else. So be careful what you ask for. And then, I don't know who was quoted at the bottom. It says nothing like threatening fans on opening day. I don't know if that was Lance McAllister who wrote that, but
no, it
Phil
was
from the bottom of my heart. Fuck you,
dude. Here's the thing, right? Like today in Cincinnati is the most important day of the year. Right, opening day is the most celebrated thing that Cincinnati does year in and year out.
It's the closest thing that the entire city has to like religion.
Yeah,
like, as a whole,
you get tens of thousands of people standing in the banks, standing outside of Great American. You have a parade where Barry Larkin is the grand marshal of the parade. Joe Burrow throws out the first pitch. Jamar Chase presents Jonathan India his NL Rookie of the Year award. And before all that happens, the COO of the Cincinnati Reds basically says, you don't like it, shit'll change, and there will be baseball in Cincinnati. Which, number one, it would never, ever happen in a million years. You never take
Major League Baseball would let it happen.
No, the Reds are the first professional Major League Baseball team ever in the history of the game. There's no way
I would never watch baseball again.
No, look, the economic impact that removing a professional organization has from a city is catastrophic. Look at what it did to Seattle for the brief period of time before the Seahawks picked up and the Sounders really came about in the MLS. I mean, when the Supersonics left to go to Oklahoma City, it was devastating. That's hundreds of jobs that people lose. Yeah, but it's hundreds of jobs that are lost when you move an organization to a different town, because most of your hourly associates aren't going to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go cross country and leave, right? Like, it doesn't work that way. They're not making millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars like people are in the Reds front office or on their active roster. Like, they're making $15-$16 an hour and a janitorial staff, or they're making $20 an hour on the grounds crew. And that's where they pay their bills. And you can't just say, oh, actually, we're going to move the team to Nashville. You can move with us if you want, though, but we're going to Nashville. No, fuck you. That's ridiculous. So I'm interested to see. I'm gonna listen back to Lance McAllister because he's doing his extra innings episode right now. I'll listen back to it tomorrow. I'm really interested to hear what he has to say, because so he was there, right? So Mo Egler and I can't remember the other guy's name, and Lance McAllister all sitting down doing this interview, and Lance McAllister was radio silent, did not say a single word, which for anybody that watches Lance McAllister, that is his silence is worst case scenario, because he's educated and he understands Cincinnati sports and he knows what he's talking about. And when you bring him to silence, he is upset. And it's because there is no rebuttal to whatever egregious statement or comment has just been made. And if you follow him on Facebook, you know he is not afraid to call anybody out for any of their bullshit. And he was silent. I just could not believe that.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you get so mad to the point where you're speechless, right? And, you know, I know from watching and, you know, absorbing a lot of his content that he is very, very methodical and calculated with what he says and how he says it. And he's not the type of guy that's going to speak out of passion and say something, you know, crazy. You know, he's gonna put together a well thought out response to, you know, how he wants to express himself, and it's gonna absolutely shred the Castellini family. I can't wait to see what he has to say about this.
Yeah, it's
really disappointing.
And the problem is, or the thing that's going to happen is, this is going to be a slow burn, because most of your top dogs within the Reds that are reporting were there. They were at opening day, so they weren't listening to hear that. And once people start listening back to this interview and they start dissecting and or maybe digesting is the better term, what Phil Castellini was saying, like, there's going to be more upset people. And that's the problem. Like, if you're just running a business in general, right? Let's take the Major League Baseball. Let's take that out of it. If you are the manager of your company or your group of your business, right? And you go on public record and say, you know what? If you guys don't like it, we'll just move somewhere else. We'll just relocate the business. And you think about it when you put it into those terms, and you're like, all right, well, that's a terrible thing to say.
You know what everybody's gonna do? They're gonna update their resumes. They're gonna pack their shit, and they're gonna find another job.
Right, and we've already seen it. We've seen some of the best people within that organization leave.
Yeah, when Kyle Body left, I knew everything was fucked.
And Dick Williams too. When Dick Williams leaves the Reds, when his family business has always been there. They've always been in the real estate business, right? I mean, he's stayed in Cincinnati because he grew that part of the Williams group to stay in Cincinnati, but not have to be a part of the family business. And he said very clearly in 2009, like, I'm here for the Reds. I'm not in Cincinnati for my family. And for him to, you know, hang it up and say, hey, I just got to do what's best for my family right now, and I gotta go be a part of this. When they're not in trouble. It's not like he did his savvy to get better. That's just an easy way for him to say, hey, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, and I'm going to go do the thing I know I'm going to be appreciated in. Right. I don't know. It almost feels like it's a test to see how far you can push the envelope of a sports fan, right? Like that's what I feel like or they literally Phil Castellini just has such little tact that he didn't realize what he was saying was egregious. You know, like I don't know. I can't figure it out. I listened to it and he's not a poorly spoken person, but what he said that nobody said anything for 15 seconds. It was like 12 seconds. There was no words were spoken. And then they just moved on because how are you supposed to follow that up?
You don't. What there's no follow-up question to that.
No.
There's no follow-up question to a threat. I mean, Josh came in. It's not a stupid question. The Castellinis have owned the Reds organization since early 2000s. I don't know the exact year, but it's
2006.
It's coming up on almost 20 years. And they promised us a championship.
Yeah, so they bought it from the lenders at the end of the 2006 season, immediately wrapping up after the 2006 season. And I don't know if, Josh, if you saw the commitment statement that Bob Castellini made to Reds fans, but he promised a championship in 10 years. And I don't consider myself a genius, but I think we're past the 10-year mark.
Yeah, I'd say we hit that about 7 years ago. If we're being modest and saying they didn't really have any choice until 2007, 6 years ago. 5 years ago, excuse me. But still, I mean, it's it just kind of like I feel like they're at the point right now where they're just like they're just doing it to do it. They're not in it for the passion anymore. They're just there for the paycheck.
Well, I don't know. You look at baseball now, and you look at what the lockout was about, and it was primarily about getting rid of this, right? Getting rid of this type of conversation, this Moneyball game that Oakland has coined, which has turned out to be probably one of the worst things that has ever happened to baseball. Realistically, it created such a large gap. Look at the Orioles. In the 90s, the Orioles were one of the best teams in baseball year in and year out, and they had some of the best talent year in and year out, and they could barely field a 28-man roster with 10 people that who they even are, or if they even have any major league experience, right? And this type of baseball, and Tampa Bay continues to kind of like, break this mold, and people are like, well, if Tampa can do it, you can keep playing the Moneyball game. You can keep playing the small ball game. No, you can't. The thing that Tampa Bay does that none of these other organizations do is that when they draft somebody, they develop all of their talent. And then they realize if they're not a part of the 5-year plan, they get rid of that person that doesn't make it through the 5-year plan and bring in guys who are closer to it, right?
Right.
So when you're trading young prospects, it doesn't look like it's a big deal, right? If you're trading 3 minor leaguers for 2 minor leaguers, but maybe those 3 minor leaguers are low A to double A guys that are going to make it to the big leagues, and you bring in 2 guys that are double A that are probably ready next year. Tampa doesn't need to. They can have the stopgap year and still win 80 games because it's a well-run organization. They do really well with having very little funding. And
that's not a circumstance of not having them or not like fielding a quality team over the money. Cause like, it's not like if they had the money, they wouldn't spend it. They don't have the financials there, but it's different in Cincinnati. We've got it. We have the money to spend.
There's an extra $90 million technically that they could have spent, right? And it's the same for Cleveland, right? I mean, we'll talk about the game that just happened because I have some opinions on what just happened in the game that just ended. But it's hard to understand. Well, you don't. I don't understand what Castellini and Nick Kroll are planning. Because there isn't really a game plan, right? There's no strategy to who they've signed, and the getting rid of Suarez to me is like makes sense. Getting rid of Tucker Barnhart makes sense, right? To the standard Reds fan, you're like, oh my gosh, I know those guys, so it's a terrible thing. Why would you do that? Okay, well, you don't really need Tucker Barnhart anymore. You have Tyler Stevenson. Tyler Stevenson will catch 140 games for the Reds this year. You don't really need Eugenio Suarez because he takes up a lot of contract and doesn't really provide full offense, right? He's a home run hitter only. They don't really need that. They have Mike Moustakas, who they're paying more money than Suarez. So you get to the lesser of two evils. And the problem is that who the Reds brought in to replace these guys, we don't know. Nobody knows any of them, right? Nobody knows that Chase Petty is 19 years old and throws over 100 miles an hour, and that's what we got for Sonny Gray. All you know is that Sonny Gray, the guy that was the ace for the Reds in the COVID year, is gone. The guy that started opening day last year is gone. That's all you know, or day two, whatever. So yeah, to the normal Reds fan, like, oh, this is horrendous. What are they doing? But if you understand the small part of it, of hey, well, you have to get something. You have to provide some sort of, if you're going to play cheaper, which is what the Reds are doing, you have to have the money spaced out over basically a 5-year plan because they have so much money wrapped up in Votto and Moustakas over the next 2 years. And then they just paid Akiyama $8 million not to play for them. Like, you got to think about stuff like that, right? And their third highest paid player, Mike Minor, he might not be ready for another month. So it's hard to see for me. Like, I try to look at it at a business perspective, and I understand the saving money part, but then you can't say that you're also trying to win. And then the people that you're bringing in, they don't equate to wins now. Say, okay, we're trying to become a better franchise in 3 to 5 years. Then I could agree at least somewhat, right?
Right.
Because there's a lot of people in the pipeline that you could say, like, all right, well, yeah, I want to see them, right? We got to see Hunter Green on Sunday, which was great. I think it was awesome that Hunter Green made his major league debut on a day game because a lot more people are going to watch a Sunday afternoon. He did. And I want to break that down a little bit too. I want to talk about that start a little bit and my perspective of it. But just to kind of put a bow on it, like, I just don't like the continuous false truths, right? Like, you could say that you're trying to win, but you're not trying to win right now. You're not trying to win right now.
Right.
That's not true. You're not putting together a team that's going to win a world championship. It's just not the case.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I was at the gym, so I didn't get to see it. How did the Reds do tonight?
So they lost 10-4, and they were down 4-1 going into the sixth. And then the Reds brought out Tony Santillan to pitch the seventh, and he pitched a really good seventh inning. And I think Tony Santillan, and they pitched Art War in the inning before that. Those are two guys that have been really the anchors. I'm saying anchors. There's been 5 games. They've been the best bullpen arms thus far for the Reds, at least the most consistent. And Tony Santillan, by trade, is a starting pitcher, right? He was developed as a starting pitcher. He's through the whole farm system. He's been a 5 to 7 inning pitcher. So at the end of the 7th inning, they took him out. Or the 8th inning, after the 7th inning, they took him out. And then they brought in Hunter Strickland. And then they brought in Daniel Duarte, who proceeded to give up six runs, including a grand slam to Jose Ramirez.
Jeez.
So for me, the frustrating part is like, hey, you have Santillan, who has had the stuff his whole career to get through the lineup at least twice. Why not let him throw 2 innings? If he's throwing well, he only threw 11 pitches. Let him back out. Bring him back out for the 8th, right? Let him throw the 8th. Let him do something. Like that. That's the part where I think David Bell specifically gets into over analytics, right? There's a difference between using data to be a good manager and then overusing data and costing games. And I think that he's done that a lot in his time with the Reds. And a lot of people blame David Bell for a lot of the pitfalls of the Reds. And I think that he is certainly some to blame for that. I think that he makes a lot of bad coaching decisions. He seemed to quite have the fire that he had. I don't know if you remember, Bobby, but when he first started as a manager for the Reds, he got ejected a lot. And a lot of the times it was because he was supporting his team. And it just doesn't feel like he does that anymore. And I think that there's a reason for that. I don't think he believes in what the Reds are doing.
I mean, would you?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
so
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I just think the hard thing for me to understand, or for me to wrap my head around, is, as a manager, you're being paid. He's not getting paid. He's the lowest paid coach in baseball. You're being paid to manage a team and make the right decisions when the rubber meets the road. And you're getting into a tied ball game, and Santiago threw an 11-pitch inning, 8 of those being strikes, and yet you're taking him out to bring Hunter Strickland in, because Hunter Strickland brings a different pace, right? Tony Santiago is a fast. He threw his half inning was like a little bit over 2 minutes or 3 minutes, something like that. It was super fast. And Hunter Strickland slows the game down. So I understand the science behind it. Hey, we just brought you in a quick delivery, get him in, get him on, get him out kind of guy. So let's bring in somebody that's going to slow the pace, change pace for him. Well, Hunter Strickland gives up 3 hits immediately, loads the bases. And then they bring in Daniel Duarte to face Jose Ramirez, who was 3 for 4. So you bring in a rookie pitcher with the bases loaded, facing the best hitter on the Guardians, and they put a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right to the middle. Of course he hit a grand slam,
right?
And he hit it. It was. I mean, I think I said the exit velo was like 104 miles an hour, somewhere around there.
That's a fucking rocket.
It was hit hard. So
Jesus,
it's just shit like that for David Bell makes me like, because I've defended him from time to time, like, hey, this isn't all his fault, because there's a lot of people. It's easy to blame the manager when shit gets tough, and it's right. But right now, like, I personally believe he cost them that game. Like,
I mean, there's a lot of games last season where he cost it because of coaching. I mean, he constantly gets out coached. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. Nick, Tez, thanks for liking the video, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming through. If you have not liked the video yet, please make sure you smash that like button. Yeah, I saw him jump in the camera a little bit ago. I was almost like, hello, Tig.
Yeah, he's back there.
He's watching from afar. He's like, I want to be in there, but I do not want to get too close. Fucking Tig. But yeah, man. Yeah, chat. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Townhall Tuesday. Please, if you have questions or thoughts about anything that transpired over the weekend, please throw them in chat. We'd love to discuss it with you. We've already touched on a couple of things right now. We're on a little soapbox about the Reds. One thing I do want to say is that the Cleveland Guardians, I think, have a young star in their midst. I don't know if you've seen the stats on Stephen Kwan, but this guy is absolutely lighting it up. Have you seen anything about this guy?
Stephen Kwan?
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This kid's lighting it up. He's reached base in every single game that he's played in so far. He's the youngest hitter to have 5 hits in one of his first 4 Major League Baseball games. That was a stat that hadn't happened since 1901. This kid is just he's not gonna hit the ball a million miles, but he finds the spaces. And he hits both sides of the field. He's super fast. He's fun to watch. He's everything that I would have wanted Billy Hamilton to be, as far as just being able to spray the ball anywhere and reach base and get extra bases when you can. And he's doing a really nice job up there in Cleveland. So
he is. And he reminds me a lot. Just his approach to hitting reminds me a lot of Tony Gwynn, which that's a big compliment. But I think that he is a compliment, not a comparison. Right. Yeah, it's a compliment. It's not a comparison. But I think that you'll very probably tomorrow. I think he's probably the leadoff hitter. Miles Straw is a nice addition for them in center field. Houston basically gave him up for nothing. So good for them for picking him up, because he's had a nice start to the year too. But I watched every single one of Stephen Kwan's at bats today, because he doesn't strike out. He has not. So again, 5 games, he has not struck out yet. Today was only the second time that he's been in a 2-strike count.
And that's
because he makes so much contact.
Yeah, and he's not a power hitter. He is a strict contact hitter. He's gonna put the ball in play. That guy would rather put the ball on the ground and try to beat it out than take a strikeout. And he's a guy that if obviously it's 5 games in, it's super early. He's a rookie. He might just be beginner's luck, but
right.
If he can stay consistent and keep continuing to do that, he's going to be a problem because he's going to make pitchers work right off the rip and get in their heads. And he's going to cause a lot of discomfort for guys on the mound, which is not something we've been able to say for anybody in quite some time. As far as a true leadoff hitter goes, I mean, he's not a guy that's going to hit home runs. He's a guy that's going to get on base and let the guys behind him, knock him in.
Right. And you have Jose Ramirez and Framil Reyes right behind you. Like, those are 2 guys that
it's a good shot.
I would want batting behind me. Absolutely. And if I'm Jose Ramirez, I'm saying keep him at second or bat me second because I want to knock in 130 runs this year. Like,
and he
that's the guy that's going to do it.
This guy continues to get on base. Yeah, his stats right now are a little inflated, but it's we'll see if he can keep it up. Man, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you preface it's super early because I think we kind of had a similar conversation about. Remember when we talked about Yohan Moncada last year, and we were like, "Oh my God, this guy's going to have 40 home runs," and then he got demoted and he basically quit baseball for like a month. So
he's like, "I'm retired."
It is what it is. I don't. Yeah, but then 2 weeks later, like, just kidding. I want to play. Okay, well, you're still in AAA. All right, whatever. I'll still play. But yeah, I think it's. I liked it. I liked watching Steven Kwan. I'm going to watch him tomorrow too. I think I'm not watching the Reds right now. I'm watching who they're playing because I think that's more exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been so Nick came in with a question that we've got a ton over the last couple of weeks. Over under on the Reds win 70 this year. So what is that? That means let's say they win 70 on the nose. So that means they would lose 92 games. I'm taking I've said it and I'll say it again. I'm taking the under. I don't think the Reds have enough to stay super. Oh, hello, Tig. I don't think the Reds have enough to stay under. To get over. First time on the podcast.
First time on the podcast.
he's like the baby's not down here, the dog is upstairs. I get to hang out with Papa.
That dude's been my ride or die. I've had him for 8 years.
Yeah, you've had him since we were in Dayton.
It's true.
Yeah, it's him and I had 2 weeks of bonding, and we've been buddies ever since. Love that.
Yeah,
cat.
so I'm actually. So you took the under. I'm sorry. Tick distracted me. He doesn't snuggle me very often anymore.
No, he's kind of he's hot and cold. Most of the time it's cold.
So I'm still taking the over. I still think the Reds win 75 games this year. Again, I'm gonna preface this by saying that number is inflated by being in the worst division in baseball, right? The NL Central is by and large the worst division. If the Reds were in the AL West, I would tell you that they'd probably lose 100 games. Or if they were in the NL East, I'd tell you they'd lose 110 games because I don't think that they're anywhere close to even the Marlins right now, regardless if they beat the Braves twice. But I think the thing you have to remember is that they're going to play the Cubs, who are a huge question mark. The Brewers, without their starting pitching, is a big question mark. I mean, they're still my favorite to win the Central, but and then you have the Pirates, who are the worst team in baseball, in my opinion. So I think that there's a chance for them to win a lot of series against teams within the division. But when you see them play outside of their division, they're going to get slaughtered for the rest of the year. The Braves thing is a flash in the pan to me because the thing that the Braves didn't do that they did to the Reds 2 years ago was that their pitching absolutely shut them down. Their starting pitching shut them from beginning to end. And in the first series against the Braves, their starting pitching just wasn't good. The guy that beat them in game 1 of the wild card in 2020 gave up 6 runs in 3 innings. So like you caught him on.
Well, I mean, you had a shortened spring training. I you take it with a grain, flash in the pan, grain of salt, whatever analogy you want to use. I was shocked to see that they won 2 against the Braves, but then, with that short spring training, I'm not taking anything too seriously.
The opening night game, the opening night game, I talked about it with a guy at work. Like, you're getting your World Series ring, it's a huge celebration. Your head's not in the game. Also, they did not have Freddie Freeman. Like, Matt Olson has the chance to be the NL MVP. He has the most hits in the National League right now. Again, it's 5 games in, whatever, take it for what it's worth. That dude could be the NL MVP for several years. But he is not Freddie Freeman. He's not the leader that Freddie Freeman is. He doesn't provide all of the veteran depth that Freddie Freeman provides. And it makes a big difference when you shake up your lineup. When you shake up the core of your lineup, right? Let me say it that way. It hurts a lot. You gotta figure out how everything gels together again. It's much different. So
yeah, I mean, Freddie Freeman may be crossing the hill and going down, but man, that this leadership is so undervalued. Everybody looks at the talent and not the the personality and the actual human being that is in the locker room and how that positively impacts and brings people together. And that's what Freddie was, man. Freddie was a huge part of that Braves team. I mean, he was there, since he was a rookie all the way up until last season. And obviously he was able to bring it home and help them get a ring. I mean, I was sad for the Braves when he went. I mean, granted, they got an absolute talent in Matt Olson, but talent's not everything when it comes to professional sports. You got to have leadership as well. And maybe Matt Olson will develop and find a way to get these guys to rally around him. Jeff, Brian, thanks for popping in. Good evening. Thanks for liking the video. Jeff came in, said just hopping in, so not sure if you touched on it yet. But how about Phil Castellini's comments today? I mean, we all kind of knew what he was thinking, but for him to say it out loud, wow, dumbass.
I think that's the best thing you could say. That's probably the nicest way that you could put that too.
Yeah.
I tried to fluff it up and make it sound. Yeah. It just goes to show you the lack of couth that the Castellini family has and how inconsiderate they are of the Reds fans. That's what I see it. It's just pure inconsideration to the fan base.
Yeah. For those of you just get in here and who may not know what we're talking about, I'll go ahead and read the quote again for everybody. Phil Castellini was quoted today. This quote is followed by about 20 seconds of just pure silence. Phil Castellini said, "Where are you going to go? Sell the team to who? What would you do with this team to compete in the current economic system? It would be to pick it up and move it somewhere else. So be careful what you ask for." Followed by a sub comment from whoever wrote the article. "Nothing like threatening fans on opening day." So yeah, I mean, obviously, as soon as that hit the group chat on my phone today, there was a lot of things that crossed my mind. Things that I won't publicly state, but
Corey, if you watch this tomorrow, I want to quote what Corey said in our group chat because I'd love to get that out there. Corey said, "What if he died unexpectedly? Wouldn't that just be the worst?"
He did say that.
Just the perfect thing. You guys know Corey. Like, that's the perfect thing for him to say.
That is a very, very Corey thing to say.
For you guys, he's terrible at text messaging. He said it on here before. He always comes off as very condescending, and it's not intentional. But like, I heard him say that when I read that. Yeah. I'm like, yep, that checks out.
Right. Yeah, you can hear all of the undertones. Brian, good evening, man. What's going on, brother? Tez came in and said Pujols' first hit back in St. Louis is a home run, baby. Woo! Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's glad to see that he can still swing the stick a little bit. You always hate to see a guy that's towards the end of his career not able to do what he used to do, and if he's still hitting bombs, and that's a good thing. And Josh, I'm sure you can find Castellini's interview on YouTube.
Josh, I just Facebook messaged you the interview from 700 WOW. So if you want to get the opportunity once we're done here to put your ears to that, You're more than welcome. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how uncomfortable just listening to it is, right? Because that's how I heard it secondhand after he had already said it. I heard it at 5:30 tonight, and to hear it after the game had started and everything was underway, like that's dirty. That feels dirty.
Yeah, man. It just, it'd be one thing if the ownership truly cared and they were making moves to be competitive and doing what they said they were going to do. But they're not making moves to be competitive. They clearly don't give a shit. And the organization and the performance that is on the field is going to reflect how the Castellini family is running the show.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's just, it is what it is at this point. You can't expect to go into things with a negative attitude and not put plans into place to be successful and then expect to be successful. It's just not going to happen.
It's just business 101. I think that's the thing that people forget. Like, this is fucking business, right? This is business. If you don't put your best group together to go out and make the sale or complete complete your contract that you're subcontracting, like you're not going to get asked back or you're not going to get the job. So like, it's the same thing. If you don't put your best foot forward, you're not going to fucking win. It's as simple as that. So I think that people try to overanalyze what's happening, right, with the Reds. People are trying to read too deep into it, that it's this mythological beast that the Castellini family's cheap and it's, but there's a plan no, there's no fucking plan. They just wanted to save money. And they're trying to figure out how much money they can make from Reds fans from revenue. That's it. That's all we're witnessing right now. So
how shit of a product can we put on the field and still turn out in the black on the income statement?
Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, we're advertising all over fucking everything now. So get ready for that. I've never seen so many Planet Fitness signs in one stadium in the history of my life. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Josh, I will say that it is a cool thing that they did, but it was kind of I don't know, man. I feel like it was just kind of it didn't feel genuine, Josh, because I felt like they were trying to get people in the stands with this big event. I'm not saying that it wasn't cool and it wasn't, awesome that Joe Burrow got to throw out the first pitch and Chase handed the Rookie of the Year award to Jonathan India, like not taking anything away from how cool that experience was. It just felt backhanded. It felt like that wouldn't have happened if ticket sales, if the game was sold out. I don't know, because it didn't come out until maybe a week or two prior to the game when the game hadn't sold out that these guys were going to be there.
That's fair. Right? That's a fair perspective of that. Yeah. So it came out. It came out after the Reds had reported that there were still 4,000 seats left. So I get it. I get exactly what you're saying.
It felt extremely backhanded and not genuine.
Right. So
that's the only problem I have with it.
Right. So they waited for that, and then they waited to announce Barry Larkin as the Grand Marshal of the parade, which that just lined up that way regardless. They traditionally don't announce their Grand Marshal until pretty much right before the.
And that's why I didn't bring that up. But
I hear where you're coming from with that, because you look at that and you look at the way that it was delivered. It was like, oh, the Reds have tickets left. Oh, by the way, Joe Burrow's going to throw out the first pitch, and Jamar Chase is going to hand Jonathan India his Rookie of the Year award, and T. Higgins is going to be there, and Zach Taylor is going to give a speech at the parade. Like, that's like if you're not a Reds fan but you're a Cincinnati sports fan, you're like, yeah, I'll take the day off work to go see that. Like, I want to see Zach Taylor. Right. I want to see the three of the younger talents in the city of Cincinnati come together and do some stuff. Like, that sounds good. So I understand that perspective of that. I think that, look, whoever works in the Reds marketing department is a genius.
Yeah, no, it's a great move.
Worked out great. And there were a shit ton of people there to listen to Zach Taylor. When Zach Taylor took that microphone, it was loud, and everybody was listening. It was loud before he took the microphone, and when he spoke, it was silent. As silent as 25,000 people can be. But yeah, it's great marketing to get the team that's been successful in your city and bring them out and the Jamar Chase and Jonathan India thing, I think, is probably my favorite part of this, because it's Cincinnati recognizing how important young guys are to the city, right? And it's the thing that we talk about baseball is really shitty at, is that recognizing young talent. Because, Jonathan India presented this Rookie of the Year award, and yeah, it's presented by Jamar Chase, but shouldn't somebody from baseball be making that an event before the game? Like, shouldn't that be a thing where the directors of baseball are trying to figure out a way to make sure that they're at this event so they can celebrate this young talent? Didn't happen. Like, that's the part that kind of disappoints me, is that I love Jamar Chase doing it, but I hate that it was like the Reds had to set that up, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like you said, the whoever is in control of that and organize that, bravo to you. That's why you have the job. It's a great idea. It would be equally as cool if you could have, Jonathan India, present Jamar Chase his award if he hasn't gotten it already. I don't remember. Wait, he already got it, right? They do a big award show at the end of the season, right, for the NFL. It's not like baseball where they get it the following season. I don't know. Maybe if they get maybe if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, they can have, some of the Reds there presenting the NFL, right? I don't know. The Brown family might do that, but it's just really cool to see the integration of both of the teams in Cincinnati. I can't remember a time where, they had that many people from the football team at the game doing that. That's just kind of cool.
I don't think they've ever done it.
Yeah.
There hasn't. Let's be fair, and I could say this as a Bengals fan. There hasn't really been a reason to celebrate the Bengals for a while, or there hasn't been because Marvin Lewis just wasn't that guy either, right? Like, Marvin Lewis just wasn't the guy that wanted to get up and give the speech and shit like that. But Zach Taylor is that guy. Zach Taylor is very personable, and he is young, and he's able to connect with a younger generation of fan base. Marvin Lewis wasn't able to do that. So, and again, Joe Burrow was a Cincinnati sports fan prior to playing for the Bengals. So this thing for him is much greater than just, throwing out the first pitch. Like, if you're a Reds fan, as a kid, that's the thing you dream of, right? You want to throw, if you're not going to play in the game, you want to throw out the first pitch. And Joe Burrow even said that. He's like, I wanted to do this my whole life. This is one of the biggest things I've ever done.
Yeah, absolutely. Uncle Bobby actually got to throw out a first pitch at a Reds game. I don't know if you know that.
Did he? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Josh said, I just feel like everybody in Cincinnati wants the excitement like they had with football. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You get that feeling of just pure excitement, and it's an adrenaline rush. It's something that you chase, right? It's one of those feelings that you can't really describe, but you love it.
Right. I think it's funny. Josh is right. People in Cincinnati just want to continue that excitement from football into baseball. And it's so hard to do that right now.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. And you look at Cincinnati, and I'm going to preface this by saying there are a lot of bandwagon fans right now on the Bengals train. It's just what it is. And I'm fine with that, right? Because if by week 7 or 8, if the Bengals aren't 8-0, those people will filter out again. And Bengals fans will be able to be amongst themselves and have real legitimate conversations and, talk football the way it's supposed to be spoken about. But the thing that the Bengals did is that they've spent some money, and they've taken the best parts of their organization and made them better and put the right people in the right place to make the right picks or sign the right people. And, if you're a Bengals fan, you're almost excited as excited about free agency as you were how the season panned out. Right. Or you're more excited.
I'm just saying right now, being a Steelers fan, it's fucking weird.
There's not.
Just gonna shoot it straight. The Bengals making good moves in the offseason and making it to the Super Bowl. I'm just like, what the fuck's happening in Cincinnati right now? But
the Bengals didn't sign Bobby Hart, right? I think that's the best way that I can kind of characterize what we're talking about. Because a couple of years ago or 3 years ago, when they signed Bobby Hart, you're like, oh, they signed a starting tackle. That's great. And then he turned out to be most atrocious offensive linemen that the Bengals have had of the 21st century. Maybe second to Andre Smith. I'm not sure. I think Andre Smith might be worse just purely because he couldn't stay like as an offensive lineman. There's two different types of offensive linemen, right? There's your big offensive linemen that struggle to maintain weight, and then there's your athletic offensive linemen that struggle to maintain weight because they can't keep it on. Andre Smith is the former. Andre Smith came into training camp at 375 pounds. I think people forget that.
Sheesh.
That's crazy.
Speaking of 375 pounds, have you seen Eddie Lacy lately?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I think there's a competition between Eddie Lacy and Antoine Walker for who got the most out of shape after their sport. Antoine Walker I don't know. Antoine Walker looks like a dude. So like,
hold on, I gotta look this up now. I saw a picture of Eddie Lacy today, and I was just like, here's
how I'll describe Antoine Walker for the general public. So you're driving through, let's say you're driving through Cincinnati, and you end up stopping at the corner store that's down there on Vine Street. Antoine Walker looks like the dude that hangs out in front of the corner store now.
That's my God! I can
describe it. Right? That's pretty accurate.
He's huge,
and he looks grimy. I mean, the dude's worth nothing. He lost all of his money. He got divorced, and his ex-wife took him for all the pennies that he had left, and the dude didn't have much left because he didn't use his NBA earnings properly. But
that's crazy.
That's painful as a Wildcat fan too, seeing Antoine get so big like that. He's tried to be on TV a couple times too. He's just not good at it. Not good at it.
All right. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to show it on my camera. That is Eddie Lacy now.
Oh my God. Is that really?
That's Eddie Lacy now. It's obviously a joke, but that is a picture of him.
Oh no. That actually might be worse.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Holy shit, that's terrible.
I mean, the dude was a beast, man, but he just couldn't get his weight under control. You know, I'm not here to, cheeseburger Eddie. But yeah, I mean, I'm not here to shame anybody about their weight. It's just sad, honestly, that he let it get to that point because I mean he lost.
Well, it's you think about it, right? Like that's your profession is to be an athlete at the highest caliber, and then you care so little about that you just can't stay healthy, right? Because Eddie Lacy, by the time he got on Seattle, was unhealthy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's the same thing with Jared Lorenzen, rest in peace. I mean, it's terrible what happened to that guy, and he had a lot larger demons than just being overweight. But it's the same thing with him, right? When he was coming out of Kentucky and he was getting into the NFL, they were like, dude, you got to drop 40 pounds. And he just is like, I can't. I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. My body, I can't get mind and body to coordinate enough for me to do that. So he got his ring, he got his cup of coffee in the NFL, and then he allowed his demons to make, point him in the wrong direction. Next thing you know, he pops up in an arena league football game at 500 pounds, throwing a 70-mile-an-hour heater right down the middle of the field. You're like, holy shit, that's Jared Lorenzen. And unfortunately, he passed away. But
the dude was an incredible athlete for how big he was. I mean, even Eddie Lacy was an incredible athlete for his size.
At one point in time, Eddie Lacy was a top 3 running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think people don't talk about that. When he came out of Alabama, he was a bad man because that size was, and I think his weight. Well, yeah, and his weight was managed in Alabama because you're forced to eat whatever is available on campus, right? And there's probably, knowing Nick Saban, he had somebody lurking over Eddie's shoulder every minute of every day. Like, don't go to the convenience store. Stay in your dorm. Stay in your apartment. Don't go do that. Don't pick up that extra cheeseburger. Go walk. Go take a walk. Go do something, right? Like people were probably he had people in his corner taking care of him. But once you get to the NFL, I think people forget that. Like that accountability goes from the university and your staff to you as the athlete. You're accountable for your weight. You're accountable because you have all this money. You should be hiring a chef. You should have a nutritionist. You should have people in your corner that are managing your finances enough for you to be able to afford these things.
Yeah, I mean, these guys get caught up on getting the big houses. I mean, I would get a, I'd get a sweet house. Don't get me wrong, but like I would make sure that I had a personal chef, personal trainer. Like, I mean, when you're making millions of dollars, that stuff's a drop in the hat.
Sure.
If you're investing your money correctly and saving it and doing the things that you need to do and not living outside your means, it's obviously easy to say sitting here in this chair not being a millionaire.
Yeah, talk to Andre Rison about that.
Right.
I mean, that dude was lit. Here's the thing, like his story to me always sticks out the most because the dude was living out of his car at training camp and nobody had any idea. Think about that. The guy was the one of the top paid receivers in the NFL, and he was living out of his car. That's what happens to these guys if they're not coached in the proper direction. And the NFL says that they do this and they do that, but like, I don't know. If they're adults, so they need to be making their own decisions. I don't want to say that somebody should be holding their hand because that's not my style in anything that I do. But I think that there should be some check-ins with these guys over their first year in the NFL to make sure that things are correct. And there should be, I don't know, a team finance manager that each team employs.
Like a team accountant.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a team financial advisor that's reviewing these guys' finances. And if they elect not to do it, then that's on them if they go broke, right? But it should be highly recommended that these guys use this program and make sure that that their money is being used appropriately. Otherwise, you end up
success. Yeah,
right. Otherwise, you end up like an Andre Rison or an Antoine Walker, who's your wife's fucking Chad Johnson while you're still married. Like,
right?
Like Josh said, like that happened. That's true. Then they made a TV show about it, and basically making Antoine Walker look like a complete piece of shit, even though. Yeah, I don't know all the facts of it. I'm sure infidelity is involved in most athletes' marriages as they're on the road, just from the stories that you read. But,
right.
I don't know. It just feels like these guys they're not pushed in the right direction immediately. And some of them is just that they just have the wrong people in their corner from the jump. And then you end up like, I don't know, like Allen Iverson, where luckily there's just one guy that looks out for you in your life. It's like, hey, that Reebok money, you don't get to touch that until you're 50. So do what you're going to do with your money now. But this Reebok money,
and guess what he learned? He learned who his friends were and who his friends weren't.
Right. Because the answer had $0 for a brief period in time. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Steven came in with a comment, said Andre Smith was a 6 overall pick. Getting back to that, like
the thing about that though, and I don't know if Steven's still watching, but I remember even as a Bengals fan, like that wasn't a bad pick at that point in time. He was the best offensive lineman available.
Yeah,
then. And if you watched him in Alabama, he was good. He was really good, actually. You just didn't know that he was going to have this horrendous problem of maintaining weight, or lack serious discipline, because that's really what it comes down to, is just a lack of discipline. But
right. I mean, and then you've got guys that carry that weight really well. And but they're not like unhealthy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a fine line to walk, especially with offensive linemen. But when you get into the skill positions, I mean, you got to take care of yourself. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a game that you played as a kid. I mean,
right.
You have to come back and center yourself in that. And it's really sad to see some of these guys, make it, do the right things for their family, and then they end up with nothing. They have no backup plan once football or baseball or basketball, whatever sport you're playing, it's over. Yeah, just it is what it is. People are, they're, like you said, they're grown-ups. They're going to make their own decisions, but damn, it just, I would like to think if I had that opportunity, I wouldn't fucking blow
it. Right. Me and you both.
What up, Corey? Oh, yeah.
I read that as a Kool-Aid man, not like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Corey, if you're just jumping in, we talked about how Andre Smith turned into a huge fat fuck after the Bengals drafted him. That's the road that we just went down.
I don't even know how we got there, to be honest. Oh, you got Arlo down there now too?
Yeah. He's doing a little huffing. He had a little something caught in his throat.
Oh. You okay over there, bud?
He's a good boy.
Corey said I was right with the yeah.
Yeah, I figured that. That's just not how I read it.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Corey, you got anything you want us to touch on tonight, chat? This is Town Hall Tuesday, so please, if you have anything that you would like us to discuss, please pop it in the chat. We definitely appreciate everybody swinging by. If you have not liked the video yet, please do so. We're getting into the last little bit of the segment here this evening. Kid can't even read. Josh said we guessed any players tonight, Todd. Look, it's always an option.
It's usually I'll have some more tomorrow, Josh, but let me dig into my notes here. I can give you at least one.
But yeah, we've covered quite a bit. We covered the golf. Now we talked a little bit about football and the tragedy that happened over the weekend. We got into a little bit of the draft and what we're obviously eyeballing some type of charitable event for the draft. We don't know what it's going to be yet, but we'll figure it out. And obviously we've gotten a little bit of baseball and the Castellinis and the hot shit show that is currently in Cincinnati. Corey said the Reds are looking good tonight. Are they playing right now or did they already play?
The Reds? They already played. They lost. He was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I always have to remember to read the sarcasm. Read it as sarcasm 86% of the time when Corey's making a comment about the Reds. All right. Corey came in and said, played at Florida in the early 2000s, dated a playmate. Who the fuck it is? Played at Florida early 2000s and dated a playmate. What sport?
He's got to be talking basketball.
Waiting for the comment here. UK fans hated him. I think he's just trying to push your buttons now, Todd. Katie, Corey, Josh, thanks for liking the video, guys. We definitely appreciate it. Point guard. Okay, basketball.
It's not Jason Williams, right? There's no way that's white chocolate.
Al Horford.
No. Al Horford's
no.
He's not.
Josh said
he jumped in before that was
before that point guard comment came out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to rack my brain here. I'm trying to remember Florida in the 2000s.
Did he play in the NBA?
Mike Miller. Point guard, Florida, early 2000s. Chat, if you just get in here to catch up, we're trying to guess a player right now. Florida point guard, early 2000s, who dated a playmate. If you got the answer, throw it in chat. Corey said,
"Is it? Oh! I got it. It's
shooting
Matt
guard,
Walsh. Matt Walsh.
Shooting guard, small forward.
It's got to be Matt Walsh. That dude. Here's the thing. Corey says that he's the most hated by UK. That dude was a huge piece of shit. Even when Corey's a Gators fan. It's whatever. The dude is a complete asshole. I know it's Matt Walsh, right?
Number 44. I don't know if that's the number he wore, but bingo.
Yeah. Oh my God. What a heap of garbage he was. Dude could shoot though. He could shoot. That's an interesting name to pick out of that 2004 to 2006 time frame.
Corey said he's a complete fucking tool.
Absolutely. Bobby, are you familiar with Matt Walsh?
No, that's a name that I'm not too familiar with. Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm not a huge college basketball aficionado. But
So
I don't remember him playing in the NBA, so that's probably why I don't remember him.
Well, there's a reason for that. It's because he never did.
Sounds about right.
He was, oh God, he had like he was the guy in the mid 2000s that wore like headband, shaggy hair, always wore like a huge white T-shirt underneath his jersey. Oh, such a douchebag. Such a douchebag. The worst player of that time frame for the Gators.
Too busy slaying top tier chicks.
I forgot about that. That was a huge thing that he dated a Playboy playmate, because the dude he made decent money playing in Europe though. He played overseas for probably the damn near better. I just looked up damn near part of a decade. No, he was not cool. That's a lie. Dude was ass. It's anybody could look good when you have Al Horford and Joakim Noah and Corey Brewer. Like,
right?
Of course he was open.
Yeah, I mean that Florida team in the early 2000s was stacked.
There's a reason why they won 2 national championships in what, 4 years, 3 years, something like that.
But was Billy Donovan coaching them at that time?
Sure was. Sure was. Yeah. Right. That was right before he made his NBA debut.
Yes. I remember. I think the most hated Florida player at the time was probably Joakim Noah. There was a lot of people that hated that guy.
Well, he was easy to hate because he was such a good college basketball player.
Yeah,
he's like top. Like I put Joakim Noah had a fine NBA career. I don't want to take anything away from his NBA career. He did great in Chicago, but Joakim Noah, to me, is like a Tyler Hansborough. Right, he's always going to go down as one of the greats of college basketball. And you can look back at his highlight reels. And Jared Jeffries from Indiana is very similar to me in that realm. You look at the highlight reels of those guys when they were in college and they were in their like playing in their prime, playing, in March Madness, they were unstoppable. When the year that Indiana won that I think that was when was Jared Jeffries in Indiana?
Late 2000s, early 2010s.
Yeah. Because I remember watching them when they played in the Final Four and watching him, and he just was like leaps and bounds better than anybody else on the floor.
Yeah. I remember him being pretty dominant. Josh said Tim Tebow, as far as I take that as being a dominant college player, not a great professional player. Yeah, it's because, I mean, he didn't have to throw the ball in college, or at least he didn't have to throw it a lot.
Yeah, everybody forget. Corey knows at that point in time when Tebow was on the Gators, he didn't really have to do too much. That team had some of the best athletes in college football.
Tebow hated more than Aaron Hernandez? ?
You're asking. You're one of the two people you're asking are the wrong people, because I loathe Tim Tebow with every bone in my body. Bobby knows this.
JJ Redick. So JJ Redick actually, I think, is one of the better college basketball players that I did not expect to have a solid NBA career and had one.
Have you ever heard JJ Redick's story about Coach K?
Maybe.
So
yes, JJ, I did hear this, but go ahead. Yep.
So, and because I think they did it before the sophomore year, or they did it. Well, they did the interview before the Elite Eight game, I think, right?
Basically told him he needed to grow the fuck up.
Yeah, where he came in, he was hungover, and Krzyzewski was like, "Hey, if you want to win, you need to grow the fuck up. You need to be a man." Yeah, that's a good story. It changed JJ Redick's career forever. He did. He had a good NBA career. I hate JJ Redick too, though. Corey said just won the Heisman. Well, it's easy to win the Heisman as a quarterback in college when your team slaughters everybody,
especially at an SEC school. So
yeah,
I mean, he kind of had everything going for him.
Here's what I'll say: if I was on the 3-yard line, I could probably jump over my offensive lineman and flip the ball to him in the end zone. I just could. I don't think that equates to a Heisman to me. And and the only reason I say this is because I know right now Corey is like, that's not all he fucking did. He did way more than that when he was in Florida. But that's what I remember Tim Tebow doing. I remember him only getting into getting into the end zone because he could just do that little flip over the, I don't know, the four of the five offensive linemen that he had that got drafted the first or second round from that team. I mean, he had one of the Pouncey brothers, right? Or maybe both of them at that point in time, right? So those guys are your center and guard. I think anybody can be a quarterback.
I was real sad when Marquise Pouncey retired from the Steelers. That dude was a beast when he was healthy. He had a great career in the NFL.
He did.
He said Tim Tebow scored more tutties than Ohio State as a freshman. Yeah,
probably.
I mean, I don't think. Yeah, I don't exactly.
I don't argue statistics. I can't argue statistics. I just think
See,
Tim Tebow.
I don't have I have a loathing hatred for Tim Tebow for what he did against the Steelers when he beat them in the playoffs. When he threw that 75-yard touchdown to Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace. To be fair, that was a great ball.
It
was a fantastic ball. And it was one of those things where nobody was expecting him to throw the ball because it's Tim Tebow. And then he goes out here and throws a dime, and then Demaryius Thomas just beats the secondary. And I'm just sitting there just watching all my dreams shatter as Demaryius Thomas has nobody within 10 yards of him by the time he gets in the end zone. I'm just like, fuck you, Tim Tebow.
Josh brings up
the one throw you made in your life, and it was against the Steelers.
He said that there needs to be a 30 for 30 on that Florida Gators team. I would love that. I would love for them to interview Urban Meyer and Percy Harvin. And
do you think Urban Meyer could actually do an interview right now?
Yeah, why not? What did he do? Did Urban Meyer do something that I missed?
Yeah, I mean, he may or may not have a 25-year-old on his lap.
Oh, that's right. He did it like 10 miles down the road from us, too. We should have been there.
What the fuck were we doing?
We missed out, man.
We missed a moment in history.
We did. I agree. Yeah. I think that would be a great 30 for 30. There was
shit would be crazy.
Maybe if Corey's to watch it, Corey, how many guys on that Florida Gators team played in the NFL? Because who is the super racist wide receiver that Florida had too that played for the Eagles?
Riley Cooper.
That's
what
he was on that team too.
He just commented on it too. He said, "I want to hear Riley Cooper apologize to the Pouncey twins."
Super racist. Terrible human being. Look, Urban Meyer never said that he was out there recruiting the most ethical and well put together young men. He was just recruiting the best talent, right?
Yeah, racists and murderers. That's it. Yeah, nothing crazy. And then one guy who really loved Jesus.
That's what I was to say. So here's what he did. He said, "Aaron Hernandez, I know you're doing a bunch of cocaine. Pouncey twins, you guys are both in gangs. Riley Cooper, I know you're from the deep South and you don't even know if black people exist yet, but we got Jesus on our side now, boys. We got Tim Tebow. He was on MTV.
They're naming them all: Riley Cooper, Tebow, the Pouncey twins, Brandon Spikes, Carlos Dunlap, Percy Harvin, Andre.
That's
Caldwell.
Right. Dunlap was on that team too.
Wow.
I always forget that he was there.
That team was stacked.
Chris Leak, get out of here. He did play in the NFL though. That's fair.
I mean, that was your question, technically.
That was my question. Was Cam Newton on that team too? Was that before he got kicked out of Florida? For throwing textbooks out the window? Again, Urban didn't say he was recruiting the most ethical people. Reggie Nelson too, that's right. Damn, that team was stuffed. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. I want to look this up now.
That's just wild that Tim
laptops.
Tebow.
Thank you. It's worse. Sorry, he did something worse. He threw thousands of dollars of laptops.
That's still thousands of dollars, whether in college, whether that's books or laptops. For being honest here, I mean, I got smart and finally started getting my shit off Amazon. I think my sophomore year.
Oh, I used Chegg. Chegg was who I used.
Yep, Chegg was.
I don't think that exists anymore, though.
Yeah,
Andre Caldwell, Percy Harvin. There's Tim Tebow. Deshaun Wynn, Cincinnati guy.
Yeah, Josh, I think
he was their starting running back.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that Cam Newton has made some poor choices. I think for the most part his NFL career is basically over. I don't see him getting back to his MVP status. There was a point in time where Cam Newton was electric on the football field in Carolina, and he didn't have a ton around him, and he was kind of a one-man band. But anybody that can come to the NFL and win the MVP, you're obviously doing something right. I just don't know where the disconnect happened. Maybe it was after that car accident. I just don't think he's ever been the same. Did he had a pretty serious car accident, right? Am I thinking of somebody different?
I don't know about that.
Chat, can you fact check me on that? Yeah, running QBs fade away. You're right, man. I think for the longevity in the NFL, there's a lot of guys like Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, even guys like Josh Allen who can move outside the pocket. As their careers develop and they get later in it, if they want to stay in it, they're gonna have to pull a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning type deal where they sit in the pocket and read defenses and make plays and throw the ball away and get smarter because their legs aren't always going to be there.
Well, I think we saw Lamar Jackson kind of get into that before he got injured too, right? Defenses started learning to you force him in the pocket. He wasn't super accurate. He's better. He's better on his feet on the run than he is sitting in the pocket. And it's the same thing. Like when Vince Young was in Texas, because to me he's like the kind of the origin of like what we call the running quarterback now. Because at that point in time, nobody had ever seen anything like him before. A guy that could be as mobile as he was, as big and as fast, and throw the ball as far as he could.
Yeah, he was like, outside of Michael Vick, Michael Vick didn't have the size. Like Vince Young was 6'5" and could run like the wind.
Right.
And could throw the ball a mile.
Michael Vick doesn't fit into any category because I think that you could put him in. Again, it's all theoretical. I think you could put him into the NFL now and he'd be able to figure out how to run a good offense, right? And he was the anomaly. I think Vince Young was really he's like the mold when you look at like the Lamar Jacksons and the Deshaun Watsons and the guys like that are playing in the NFL now that always look to run first before they throw. Right. And it's easy to figure out after 6-7 weeks in the NFL because if you can keep a guy like that to his weak side and force him to check down 2 or 3 times, he's not going to make the right decision. Look what happened to Vince Young when he got to Tennessee for a couple years. He did really well his rookie year, and then after a while, the defense just figured out you got to make him check down and keep him in the pocket.
Corey said it was the Super Bowl for Cam. Ever since then, he was soft when Von Miller made him his bitch.
That's a good point. He really wasn't the same after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Von Miller at that point in time in his career was the best linebacker in the NFL, and he just destroyed him. And Josh alluded to your point that you had made, Todd, that running QBs want to run before the check down, which is absolutely right. I mean, the check down is the most underrated. It's a quarterback's best friend, and you see a lot. Most of the rookies that make mistakes don't see the check down. Either they don't see it or they're not looking.
Yeah, it's what makes Joe Burrow so effective. He's very good at when as he got more comfortable into this season, he was great at checking down, which is what made CJ Uzomah so one of the higher paid tight ends of the free agency, right?
Right.
Like he made Joe Burrow made Uzomah's contract because he got him so involved in the offense because he was such an easy check down. And Josh is right. It's just you have to be able to do that, especially now in today's game. You have to be able to do that because everybody on the defensive side of the ball is so athletic.
Right.
And covers so much ground on the field. It's insane.
Yeah. Josh with an interesting comment said Mike Vick is just the Iverson of the NFL. I actually really like that.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective on both of them, because I think both of those guys were unique. When you look at and they set the they were a more of a cultural change to the sport that they played in, and that cultural change just alluded to them becoming a superstar, right? Allen Iverson brought a whole new attire to basketball.
He brought his own swagger into the game, and everybody kind of followed suit.
Right. And then, because really before that, it was just Jordan that was making sneakers, right? Like Jordan was your guy. Like there wasn't really a lot of guys. Vince Carter at that point in time, I think probably had his first pair of Shocks or whatever. I think they probably came out around the same time. We were like 4th grade, 5th grade, somewhere around
like that.
Yeah. And then Josh just took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say, they both grew up in the same neighborhood.
Oh, Virginia?
Newport News, Virginia. Yeah.
Wow.
And they both, if I'm not mistaken, they both went through like the same Boys and Girls Club at different times too, in the area, because Newport News is not a nice area per se.
Right.
But they are that high school. Did they go to the same high school? I have to look that up. But yeah, Newport News is not known for being the most reputable place to live.
Yeah. Plus, they grew up together with the Saints QB. Name the player. Quarterback that played for the Saints that also grew up in the same area. So we got to go back a couple years then. Early 2000s. Oh, oh my God, what's his name? I can see his face.
Oh.
What the fuck is his name?
Oh, shit. I just had it and I lost it. So, is his last name Brooks?
Aaron Brooks.
Is it Aaron Brooks?
Aaron Brooks.
Aaron Brooks grew up in Virginia too?
That has to be it.
Aaron. Yeah, it's got to be Aaron Brooks, right?
It has to be Aaron Brooks. Boom, bingo. Yeah, I was like, I can see his face.
That's a good trivia question right there too. That dude was a monster on Madden. Aaron Brooks was a beast on Madden because he was so fast. He was like if you were playing with your friends and they're like, "Oh, I want to play with Michael Vick," you could be the Saints and kind of play a similar game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that was Aaron Brooks before? It had to be after Jeff, because Jeff Blake went to the Saints after he left the Bengals. So
that was after. That was after.
Yeah, because I'm assuming they drafted Brooks the year that they signed Jeff Blake. It's like a Kitna Palmer situation, right?
Right.
Where you bring somebody in with veteran experience to not fuck it up for you the whole season.
Right. Rob, what is up, sir? How are you this evening? Thanks for tuning in, my dude.
All right, here, let me give you a trivia question here, Bobby, because I'll give you my favorite quarterback. I'll give you my favorite quarterback of the early 2000s. Early 2000s was a quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Went to Tulane.
Chris Chandler.
Nope.
It's not Brad Johnson, is it?
It's pre-Brad Johnson.
Chris, is it the blonde guy?
Nope.
That played for Gruden? No. What's his name? What am I thinking of?
Blonde guy that played for Gruden.
Chris. Fuck. Whatever. Rich Gann didn't play for them.
Nope. So I guess I should rephrase it. He was not the starting quarterback for Tampa Bay when they won the Super Bowl, but he was there the year they won the Super Bowl.
So that was what, 2000?
2003 is the year they won the Super Bowl.
That was the Derek Brooks, John Lynch era. What a great defense. No, I'm not thinking of Damon Huard now. Vinny Testaverde is what Rob said.
No, not Vinny.
I mean, he played for quite a few teams, but I don't think that's him.
No.
Who the fuck am I thinking of? Did he play for anybody else?
Not really anybody. Like, he didn't start for anybody else. He played for the Cardinals, and I think he might have even played for the Lions for a year. And then he played in the CFL after that.
This is a name I would know, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I think he's pretty popular in the early 2000s.
Fuck.
I mean, I had his football jersey, so he was popular enough to have a jersey.
Okay, fair enough. Chad, if you have any answers, let me know. I'm racking the noodle here. I don't know.
All right, Rob says he's got it. Let's see, Rob. This is a tough one, Josh. I think that unless you followed the look, I had his jersey, so he was at least popular enough. Sean King, let's go. That's right, Sean King.
Sean King, I remember Sean King.
He was my favorite. He was my favorite player in the early 2000s. From like let's say 4th grade to 7th grade, he was my favorite player.
Wow. Sean King.
Number 10.
I would have never got that, by the way. I would have never got that.
Great. That's a great.
That's a good trivia question.
Rob, excellent job, sir. Excellent job. I appreciate your early 2000s knowledge on obscure Conference USA quarterbacks.
All right, I have to look up the fucking name that I was thinking of. Hold on.
My favorite quarterback before that was actually a Pittsburgh Steeler, Bobby, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, do tell. Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, it's Cordell Stewart.
It
was Cordell Stewart. He said if you Google, that's against the law on this podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, look, this is quickly turned into Townhall Tuesday has turned into let's see if we can stump each other, and I'm here for it.
Let's see here. I'll find him here in a second.
Rob, Sean King actually is
Chris Sims is who I was thinking of. I was thinking Chris Sims.
Son of Phil Sims.
But I was a couple years too late. I almost guessed Trent Dilfer, and I was like, no, he doesn't like Trent Dilfer.
That's like me asking you who my favorite Eastern Illinois NFL quarterback is. Who is yours? Jimmy Garoppolo, right? He's from Eastern Illinois. If we're going Northern Illinois, I could say Jordan Lynch. They won the MAC a couple years with him at the helm. He said he is, but wrong answer. That's fair. To be fair, though, Rob, Sean King's not an Ohio guy. He's from technically he's a New Orleans guy, if I'm not mistaken. He's from Florida, but he went to Tulane. Oh, Tony Rowe, get out of here. The dude ended up going to Western Kentucky. It doesn't count. Or no, he didn't go to Western Kentucky. He went to Eastern Illinois. Who am I thinking of that was at Western Kentucky? Drawing a blank.
Oh, all right. So I found a pretty cool web page here. It's got some old NBA trivia for you. We'll do a couple of these and then we'll hang it out for the evening. What player spent his entire career with the Detroit Pistons, scored over 16,000 points, and recorded over 1,300 steals?
Rob Dumars.
No.
Or Joe Dumars.
Wow, that was too easy. Okay, we got to go harder.
I was looking at Rob's comment, and I was thinking Joe Dumars at the same time. See, Rob got it.
They say these are hard, but these not for Todd. Not for this chat.
I'll let you have it, Rob. I'll say that on a second.
All right. Well, this one's probably, I don't know. It's more of just a trivia question about basketball in general. In which year did the 3-point shot get introduced to the NBA?
Let's see. It wasn't in the NBA when Jordan was drafted. Was it like 1987?
Nope.
Is it before that?
Rob's closer at 76.
1979?
Correct. Rob said, Todd, starting 5 of the 91 Bulls, go.
Bill Paxton, that's the only one that matters. Was Bill Paxton even on the fucking Bulls then? I don't even know.
I think I don't know. The second run.
I don't know who was on the. Shit, this is a hard question. John Paxson, thank you, John Paxson. He's from Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton,
Ohio. Sorry, I always get him and the actor mixed up, man.
These are bad. These I'm scrolling through these questions and I'm like, I
know
most of them.
For that. I got a 1-year-old that doesn't sleep. You guys got to cut me some fucking slack.
Bill Paxton is an actor. Bill Paxton, rest in peace. He was an actor.
Bill Cartwright. That's right. Horace Grant was on the Bulls because they traded him to the Magic and Jordan fucking slaughtered him on that documentary. Made it sound like Horace Grant was a shitty teammate. Yeah, he needed to go to the Magic anyway. He got to play with Shaq and Penny. He was fine.
Oh, this one might be impossible.
B.J. Armstrong, also a good guard.
Who was the first foreign player to be drafted number 1 overall? I didn't know this.
First foreign player drafted number 1 overall.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's impossible.
Has it been since we were born?
It doesn't give a year. It's Michael Thompson out of the Bahamas.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't either. That's why I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay, Josh said, name the Space Jam lineup that got their powers taken away. Let's do it real quick.
Bugsy Bogues, Sean Bradley, Charles Barkley, fuck, who's the power forward?
He went to UNLV, played for the Hornets.
Yeah, I can see his face. Larry Johnson. Yeah. And who am I missing?
You're missing probably the biggest name of the 5
of all of them.
Yeah.
Who the fuck am I missing?
Played for the Knicks. Went to Georgetown.
Oh, now Patrick Ewing.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, Bobby. Rob asked if we remember the famous draft bust that was drafted second before Jordan. Rob, if you don't know, I am a Kentucky basketball fan. And for Kentucky basketball fans, we are all very aware that the Portland Trailblazers selected none other than Mr. Sam Bowie prior to Michael Jordan being drafted. Arguably one of the biggest busts of all time.
Arguably the worst draft pick in all of sports.
Yes. It could be up there. Sam Bowie and Greg Oden are in a very similar boat because injuries ruin their careers. Like Sam Bowie was hurt in the NBA before it even started.
Did you follow me back on TikTok today? I didn't realize that you followed me, Rob.
You better. All right, Josh, one more, and then it's tuck-in time for you more. I got to get to bed soon.
Oh, that was the Todd. Okay, I thought I followed you already.
Oh, you did? Let's see.
You haven't seen my TikTok. You haven't. I've got some chat commands coming in the gaming stream, so you'll be able to find it. But I'll share it.
Josh, I thought you were leading us in here. I'm waiting for you to.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a Josh question.
Rob, I just followed you back. To be fair, I don't get on TikTok that often. I mostly just get on there to get some workout ideas if I feel like my workouts are getting kind of stagnant. Played for Portland Trailblazers in the 2000s. Brandon Roy.
Yeah, has to be Brandon Roy. That's too easy. One of the best things that never happened.
It's true.
Kind of happened, I should say. Didn't never happen, but
dude, I still firmly believe that he would be top 10 scoring all time if his legs wouldn't have failed him. I firmly believe that. I don't think anybody can stop him.
Let's see here.
Shooting guard or small forward? Is it Ruben Patterson? Did Ruben Patterson? He probably got drafted before the 2000s. Right?
I don't know. We'll find out.
No, damn. So all right, Josh, give me some more hints here. Close. All right, that's a good sign.
Let's think. 2000 Blazers. Pippen was there, right? Question mark from Rob. Ball State.
Ooh.
In the 2000s. Now, was it early 2000s, late 2000s? Rookie. He was a rookie and okay.
Oh. Left-handed. He's left-handed, right? Am I thinking of the right person?
Early and late 2000s. He was there the whole. Oh, you're not. No, that's not it. No way. That's two. For some reason, no, it's not Aldridge. He was not there that early.
No, I know who. I think I know who it is. I got to get the name together. So
Josh said yes. Left-handed.
Let me close my eyes for 10 seconds. I'm gonna try to get it together here because I can picture who he is. Let's see.
Find it.
It's not Ruben Patterson. Ball State University, early 2000. It's Bonzi Wells.
Whoa.
Wells. That's got to be it. That's the only other person I could.
Wears a headband all the time. That has to be him. He was known for wearing a headband.
Bonzi Wells. There was a dagger behind the 3-point line. Absolute dagger. Also,
wow.
if you used him in the 3-point shooting contest on NBA Live, you almost always won because he had a really fast release.
Yep. Wow. What a
Bonzi
name
Wells.
drop.
That's a great name drop, dude. That's one that when I think of obscure players of like the 2000s, that's a perfect example.
Bonzi Wells was a beast.
He was. Dude, I bet for his career he averaged over 15 points a game.
Yeah. No, he was solid. There's one of those names that you forget.
Absolutely.
Which but now that you mentioned it, like I remember him. Like he was solid.
Bonzi Wells. Wow. That's a great. The university drop was big for me because there was a point in time because you got to remember Miami University was huge then because Wally Zerbiak was there when Bonzi Wells was at Ball State.
That's a good one too.
So my dad would take us to a lot of Miami basketball games because they made it to the Sweet 16 that year too. It was 1998, something like that.
Tez said that 2000 Trailblazers team was awesome. They were, man.
They had Pippen, Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, Bonzi Wells, Sabonis. I feel like I'm missing somebody big. I gotta look it up now. I'm missing a big name. I know I am. Stacey Augmon, rest in peace. Brian Grant, former Xavier Musketeer, had great hair. Great hair.
Rob said best 3-point shooter on NBA Jam. Who was your go-to? I had two favorites.
Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller was automatic from the 3-point line at NBA Jam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Detlef Schrempf was on that team.
Jermaine O'Neal.
He was. So 2000.
Wow, so that's pre-Pacers Jermaine O'Neal too.
Yeah, so I think that so the Pacers played the Lakers in the finals in 2001. So I think that was like his second to last year that he was on because they drafted him out of high school in like 1996.
Glenn Rice.
So see, I like the Hornets thing though, right? Because when you play with the Hornets on NBA Jam, you could be Larry Johnson and Glenn Rice, you could be Stacey Augmon and Glenn Rice, or you could be Muggsy Bogues and Larry Johnson, and you were unstoppable.
Yeah, Muggsy was so fast. Oh man, they need to bring that game back.
It's in a lot of bars for like the arcade style.
Yeah, that shit was sweet.
It was.
All right, chat. We're gonna wrap it up here. Appreciate all of the Rex Chapman was also on that team.
Over Kentucky Wildcat.
We are gonna wrap it up here though. Appreciate all of the activity in the chat tonight. Almost 180 comments, 15 reactions.
That's you guys so crazy.
Crazy. You guys were off the chain tonight. Certainly appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow night. Todd, Corey, will Aaron be joining us tomorrow night?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Josh, Rob, Tez, get back in here tomorrow night, 9:00. Who the fuck it is, we'll wrap up in the post. We're still. Yeah. Here's the thing, fellas. We haven't even scratched the surface on names that I got in my notes right now. I got to get some notes together, or at least some facts together. I still have 57 names in my notes right now to choose from.
Oh my God.
It's out of control. Every time a name pops into my head, wherever I'm at, I just put it in my notes. And then I'm just going to do 3 a night.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rob, no worries, man. Appreciate you swinging through. Tez, thanks for coming by. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. I am off, but the 3 boys will be on here tomorrow night, rolling through some name drops for you in the old basketball world. But you guys enjoy. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you then.